Moving into our new flat was supposed to be the beginning of a fresh chapter for Jamie and me. The place wasn't extravagant, but it was ours, a cozy two-bedroom apartment with just enough charm to make up for its flaws, or so we thought. The day we moved in, everything felt perfect. The fresh paint, the polished floors, the light streaming in through the large windows, it all felt like a dream. But as I was unpacking a box of kitchen supplies, I found something strange stuffed at the back of a cupboard. It was an envelope, yellowed with age. My name was scribbled on the front in shaky handwriting. I hesitated before opening it, my heart thudding in my chest. Inside was a letter. "Welcome to Flat 42, it began. You don't know me, but I've lived here for over 20 years. This building has rules, and if you value your safety, you'll follow them carefully. Ignore them, and you might not last the month. I'm writing this to help you survive." The letter was signed by someone named Mrs. Prudence Hemmings. My stomach sank as I read her detailed list of rules. It started innocently enough. Don't use the lift between certain hours, keep food scraps cleaned up, but then things got sinister. If someone claims to be from flat 6572, do not open your door. Those flats burned down in the 80s. The residents didn't survive, but sometimes they come knocking. I laughed nervously, trying to convince myself it was just a joke. But the more I read, the harder it was to dismiss. Keep a weapon in every room. Occasionally, something will slip through the net, and you'll need to protect yourself. I glanced around the flat, suddenly feeling exposed. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick with an unshakable sense of unease. That evening, Jamie came home from work, exhausted but happy to see the progress I'd made unpacking. I showed him the letter. He chuckled at first, but quickly stopped when he saw the look on my face. "It's probably just some old lady trying to scare the new tenants," he said. But I could tell he wasn't entirely convinced. We tried to laugh it off as we ate dinner, but I couldn't stop my eyes from darting toward the balcony door. The thought of someone or something knocking on it filled me with dread. The next morning, I woke up to find 2 letters addressed to Mrs. Hemmings sitting on our doorstep. I froze. Jamie had left for work hours earlier, and the building was eerily quiet. I glanced at the clock, 9:14 a.m. I'd missed the postman, Ian, by just a few minutes. The letter had mentioned him as someone trustworthy, but I didn't feel any relief. Instead, I felt a growing knot of anxiety in my stomach. As I bent down to pick up the letters, a movement in the hallway caught my eye. A hairless cat, sleek and pale, slinked past my door. It turned its head to look at me, its eyes uncomfortably intelligent. The letter's warning about stray cats came rushing back. I quickly shut the door, locking it behind me. At 11:15, there was a knock on the balcony door. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Through the glass, I saw a man, middle-aged, holding window cleaning equipment. He smiled warmly, giving me a little wave. "Morning, miss," he called out. "Just here to clean the windows. Mind letting me in for a sec?" Every instinct screamed at me not to move. The letter's warning about the window cleaner echoed in my mind. I stayed rooted to the spot, clutching my phone, debating whether to call Jamie or the police. The man knocked again, harder this time, his smile fading slightly. "Miss? It's hot out here. Could I trouble you for a glass of water?" I shook my head and backed away from the door. The man's expression darkened. He knocked again and again, each rap of his knuckles more insistent than the last. I couldn't take my eyes off him. His smile had vanished completely, replaced by an unsettling blank stare. He didn't move from the balcony for 30 minutes. When he finally left, I darted to every window, searching for any sign of him. But he was gone. No equipment, no shadow, nothing. By the time Jamie's shift was supposed to end at noon, he still hadn't come home. I called his phone repeatedly, each unanswered ring making my panic grow. At 2 p.m., I finally called his work. His boss told me Jamie had never shown up for his shift. My blood ran cold. Jamie always left for work at 3:15 a.m. His routine was like clockwork, and then it hit me. He would have taken the lift. I sat on the couch, the letter clutched in my trembling hands. I read it again and again, trying to find some explanation, some clue. But the words blurred together, and the silence in the flat became unbearable. The damp patch on the bedroom ceiling had grown darker, almost crimson. I couldn't bring myself to check it. As night fell, the flat seemed to come alive with sounds I couldn't explain. Faint whispers echoed through the walls. Shadows shifted where there shouldn't have been any light. I locked every door and window, gripping a kitchen knife like my life depended on it. That night, I sat in the dark, waiting for Jamie to come home. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind outside sent my heart racing. The letter's final words repeated in my mind like a mantra. The first few weeks are the hardest. Stick to the rules and you'll be fine. But Jamie hadn't. I glanced at the clock, 3:14 a.m. A soft knock came from the front door. My stomach dropped. "Miss, it's Ian the postman. I have a package for you." But it wasn't morning, and Ian never delivered this late. Will I survive the first week? Stay tuned for Chapter 2 to uncover what happens when the rules are broken. Your turn. Would you stay in Flat 42? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Because in this flat, the story is just beginning.